not know me, my name is Anneliese Walker, though most people call me Lise. I am a farmer, I'm a community builder, I'm a storyteller, and I'm a really proud Minnesota Farmers Union member. Hopefully Diana doesn't thank me. I was a little late on paying my dues. I strongly believe that through better storytelling and consumer engagement, we can rebuild our businesses, our local economies, and our rural areas. It's really crucial that farmers and ranchers do their bit to reach out to those in urban areas, the populations that we feed, and sort of rebridge that gap between those who sow the land and those who sort of benefit from its products. One of the biggest questions I get is, do you actually farm? So yes, we do farm. As Brita said, we farm in Princeton, Minnesota. We call ourselves a regenerative farm. So our mission is to farm in a way that restores our soils through rotational grazing, reestablishing pastures, and mimicking nature in our management to draw down carbon and fight climate change. I farm alongside my husband's side of the family. So pictured here, you'll see my sister-in-law, Becky, brother-in-law, Andy, my mother-in-law, Tammy, my father-in-law, George Sr., and then my loving husband, George Jr. So all of us play a really crucial role in making the farm work on the day-to-day. But yes, we do farm. And all of our, one thing to know, all of our land is actually rented. So it was conventionally row cropped for many years. And so we're really, really, really big on restoring soil health and reestablishing native rangeland and native pastures in our local area. You'll also see my two my niece and my nephew. So this is Cohen and Daphne. They are our quality control officers. So today, what's on the agenda? So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the digital ecosystem. So the four major areas within the sort of internet that we really concentrate on. An introduction to the sales funnel and where those things fit in. We'll also talk about digital marketing tools, how to create goals, and then how to crush them. Like, making it work for you rather than getting swamped in the day-to-day. So, Walker Farms is currently, you can find us on one of 4 places. So on social media, we currently occupy Facebook and Instagram. We also utilize YouTube. We have a website. We curate an email list, and then we also have a very strong Google and Google My Business presence. These are all major tools in how we connect with our customers on the day-to-day and how they find us, really, without too much intervention on our side. That being said, we tend to look at the internet as an ecosystem. So our ultimate goal is to get as much quality website traffic as possible. I do want to note that you have the most control over your email marketing and your website marketing, and the least amount of control about of your search engines and social media and how you're presented in those places and spaces, or when people find you in those places and spaces. So one of the things is, so social media and search engines are very subject to what's called an algorithm. So social media has changed over the last couple of years and is really more user focused, where when Facebook, Instagram, and some of these other things first came to light, it was a lot more marketer focused, trying to get businesses onto these platforms to help cash flow. So as a local business, I do want to note that Google My Business and Google Search Console are going to be your best friends, and we'll dive a little bit more into that later on in this webinar. So first things first, let's talk about the sales funnel itself. One of the sort of like lingo terms I want to touch on before we really dive in is, what is a KPI? So a KPI is a key performance indicator, or it's essentially the unit of measure that we use to gauge success. So every time somebody gets to a different portion of the sales funnel, or how you get them from that first awareness phase, I'm aware that you exist and I know what you are selling. This is like the first time that they interact with your brand or with you in general. So some of the things that we track is going to be search position, total reach, impressions, things like that. And I'll show you how to find those later on. Next is going to be that interest phase, or I perceive that your product has service, or your product or service has value, and it's going to add value to my life. So what problem are you going to solve? How are you going to help these people? You know, are you helping them feed their family? Are you helping them, you know, find a jelly that tastes that much better than what they can buy in the store? Do you make them feel like they're contributing to their community by purchasing local food? So what does that look like? So the KPIs that we look for, the performance indicators we look for, they're going to be likes, comments, shares, time on page, or like how long they're interacting with your brand. Next is going to be the action or purchase. So this is the money-making phase. This is the phase that we love as farmers, you know, where you're going to actually make those results or turn those results and start seeing how it's going to affect your bottom line. So your prospective customer follows through on your call to action. For us, we look at your conversion rate. So how many people are subscribing or registering or purchasing, or maybe they're joining your CSA. What does that look like? And then you can measure that. Am I hitting my goals? And then last is the advocacy phase. The advocate phase is essentially like, it sort of came in, I would say, in the last 6 years in the marketing world of, not only do I love this brand, but I'm going to tell my friends about this brand. So through the use of like referrals, or through the use of Google My Business, and they're like giving you a 5-star rating or rating your business on Facebook, like telling their friends, sharing your posts, and really helping you grow is a really big thing. And so we do want to track that, because that is essentially like free advertising, right? You don't have to pay them, or you can create a formal advocacy program that helps you affect that bottom line and helps you get deeper into your community. One thing I do want to note is the customers that we get through a referral program tend to be a lot more high quality. So they're going to spend more, and they're going to spend more and more often. So that's really a crucial part of our sales funnel, that we want to make sure we're taking care of those customers so they bring us more. So what does an example customer journey look like? So your customers typically will find you one of two ways for the first time. Either it's going to be on social media, or they're searching for you on some sort of search engine. So right here, so social media, you know, they're aware of your brand. They either, you know, like or love, or maybe they give you an angry face, or, you know, whatever, any type of interaction that they have with your brand that elicits an emotion. Next, they're gonna start showing interest. They'll go into your website. Either they'll subscribe to your email list, hey, I want to hear more, or maybe they're gonna make their first purchase and go right down for that first action in like finalizing that brand, or finalizing that like relationship, right? And then at the very end, if they fall in love with your brand, they're gonna start telling their friends about it. It's a really, really, you know, there's so many different ways that are like steps within that, but in the basic customer journey, this is how they're going to flow through all of your different data sets, or across all your different platforms. So let's talk about tools. So tools to build awareness and foster interest, a lot for us as a local business. So we use Facebook and Instagram for building community, and we also use Google My Business for really driving local search engine optimization. That's one thing that I would highly recommend, and it's very underutilized by businesses. So the more that you can build out your Google My Business account, the more local search engines are going to recognize you. So highly recommend, if you're not on Google My Business yet, that you go there. First and foremost, we have to remember that social media is a place to build relationships and build brand awareness. It is not necessarily a place for hard selling. Sure, you can tell people about offers and deals, but more often than not, we have found that through telling stories about your brand and about your customers, and sort of the why and the mission, and really like focusing on like goals that are beyond the scope of your sales, is really going to drive interaction with your brand and help you build out your community that much faster. Next, for your, actually capturing and converting your community, so where the money making happens, that's going to be on your website and through your email marketing. Our farm actually uses GrazeCart for our platform because we sell by the dollars per pound. We raise grass-fed beef, grass-finished lamb, pastured pork, pastured chicken, turkey, and then eggs as well. So a lot of those products we tend to sell by the pound, and so it's a really great platform for that type of a thing. If you're not selling by the pound, there's also other great platforms that you can use, such as WordPress, Shopify, Squarespace. There's tons that you can go through. Then email marketing. So email marketing is a lot more of like that touch on the shoulder. Hey, it's a longer form contact. Hey, we have this thing going on. This is what we've been doing on the ranch or on the farm, and just kind of like touching base and getting a little bit more in depth, and being right in their inbox. I do recommend that you send your emails like earlier in the morning. I read a study recently that it says 70% of email users will check their email between 6:30 and 8:30 in the morning. So before their feet even hit the floor, they're already on their personal emails. So fun little tidbit there. Last but not least, building consumer advocacy. So we're pretty lucky on GrazeCart. There is a referral program that we can use, so it gives them a link. But more often than not, it's us reaching out afterwards. Hey, how did you find us? And then just applying that credit directly to that consumer's account, letting them know, and then sending them a personalized thank you letter. It does feel a little bit intensive, but people really want to know that their support is appreciated, and it's up to us to do that and do the legwork to make them feel like they're appreciated, because really without our consumers, there is no us. So it's really, really, really important that we make sure that they're taken care of. So next, setting goals and measuring success. So it's one thing to just like make content and throw it out into the world and say, hey, we're here, we sell beef. It's a thing. They have 4 hooves and, have 2 ears and they're black. Like, people don't really, that doesn't really help you. It's an entirely different thing to be super intentional about what your resources are and how you track success. So it's, create your goal, figure out how you're going to measure it, and then go from there, see if you're being successful. So that's where SMART goals come in. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant or realistic, and time sensitive. So specific, it needs to be clear, simple, and defined. I want to increase brand awareness in Minnesota. Measurable, how are we going to measure this? So I want to increase my followers in Minnesota by 15%. So looking at using your tools so that you can actually track that change over time rather than just having this like sort of nebulous goal out in the clouds. Do you have the resources to do this? So is this going to cost you money? How much will it cost you? Do you have the bandwidth to do it, or do you need to hire it out? Those are all really important questions to ask yourself before setting on to this new journey. Is it relevant or realistic? So is this going to actually impact your bottom line goals or your actual like business goals outside of the scope of your business? And then time sensitive. How often are you going to be benchmarking or evaluating? So are you going to be looking at these things weekly, monthly, quarterly, daily, maybe annually? These are all questions, holding yourself accountable and setting those deadlines so that you know when you're due to have those conversations, or when you start to, or how long you're going to let it go before you start sort of looking at your data sets. Once you've created those goals, the next part is going to be scheduling yourself out. So creating a timeline, making sure that it's realistic. There are some really great tools for social media scheduling and email, like doing your email blasts, your newsletters, and also doing blog articles and YouTube videos is a really great way to continue beyond that small social platform. We currently use Later for our social media scheduling. It's the biggest reason we use that is for the linked bio. So anytime we post something, we can say, hey, go to our bio and if they click that link, it'll take them through to our website where we actually want them to go. So it reduces the number of clicks to get them to where they need to be in order to convert that customer or get them to do whatever the call to action was. Mailchimp is also a really great tool. It's also free. And so, you can import all of your contacts and then schedule out your emails ahead of time so you're not out in the pasture one day thinking, oh gosh, I got to get home and get this sent out. So social media. Let's talk about creating goals on social media. So again, understanding the scope or like the context in which we use social media, what we measure is essentially reach, engagement rate, and click-through rate. So again, our goals is to build awareness and begin relationships. It's not necessarily a hard sell. So reach, how many people am I reaching? Who all saw my content? My engagement rate. So of those who saw it, what percent interacted with it? And then the click-through rate of those who saw it, how many clicked my link? So if I want people to go to a recipe that uses some products that we have on our farm, how many people are actually looking at that post and then going all the way through to the end of the journey and hopefully buying, right? So those calculations look like this. So you'll see when you look at the performance of your post at the very top, there's going to have a total reach. So this is actual number of people who were reached. So for this particular post, just over 1,200 people were reached. We would then record that or export it in a spreadsheet, and then we can calculate some of these other things. So your engagement rate is going to be the sum of all of your engagements. So our 67 reactions, comments, and shares, and then how many post clicks times by or divided by the total reach, and then multiplied by 100 to get that 21.57%. Now, the reason that we have 67 all of the reactions, comments, and shares, as well as the post clicks, so that includes your photos, views, link clicks, and other clicks. Those are all just like interactions. It's taking them deeper into my social media. So it's a really great way to drive or to track total engagement. So I know how many people are actually engaging with my content. The next part is the click-through rate. So on the post that I include a link on, I will look and see how many people click the link, so total link clicks over my total reach. So of the number of people who saw my post, how many actually clicked the link or where I'm trying to send them. It's not I won't include a link every single time because over time, Facebook might potentially demote your posts because of too many backlinks. Because realistically, social media wants people to stay on their platform for as long as possible so they can sell more ad space. So having a nice mix of stories and then backlinks back to your website or wherever you want them to go is a really great way to, drive engagement, but also balance out and play that sort of dance with the algorithm. So on our farm, general goal. So our general goal for social media is to build our brand awareness and our online community. But our actual SMART goal, so what we're trying to do is increase our total reach 5% month over month, maintain an average engagement rate of at least 8% per post. So again, that's going to be all of your reaction, shares, clicks, everything combined over your total reach. And then increase my average click-through rate to 5% by June of 2021. So all of these are time-bound or very specific to individual posts. So that it's a real measuring stick or a real goal that I can track month over month. Next, we have our email marketing. So I know some people say that email is not relevant anymore, but email is the moneymaker. Email is your place to have a megaphone and say, hey, 2021 pre-orders are open now. It's a really important tool, and actually, you're 25% more likely make a hard sale from an email than you would from like a social media post. So again, email marketing is a place to build relationships, educate consumers, and actively sell your products. So the things that we measure month over month, I want to know my new subscriptions per month. So is my community growing? What's my open rate? And then what's my click-through rate? So my open rate is of those who received it in their inbox, how many opened it? And then click-through rate of those who opened it, how many clicked a link within the email body. So the example of this, so this is actually pulled from one of the emails that we sent. So for our Elk River area delivery, we had 234 successful deliveries. So we take our total open, so 65 opened, over 235 total sent, multiply by 100, and so that gives you that 27% open rate. And then the click-through rate. So how many links were clicked over how many were opened. So when you're doing the math, or if you decide to use Mailchimp, this is how they automatically calculate it for you. You don't necessarily need to do this externally from the platform, which is super nice. But this is how you would actually do if you wanted to export everything as a spreadsheet. These are the true calculations that you would use to calculate this information. The negative, so 3 unsubscribed. If there are unsubscriptions in your email list, don't take it personally. Think of it as it's a self-selection of this person is no longer worth my time. It's a good thing that they unsubscribe because you're a lot less likely to get what's called gray listed, or it's sort of sent to spam by the different filters in Gmail, Outlook, and such. So so newsletter subscriptions per month, the total new subscribers, our open rate, and then our click-through rate are the 3 things that we can track using Mailchimp. So again, general goals for email. So our general goal is to build relationships and increase e-commerce transactions. Our SMART goals is we want to have an average open rate of 23% per email blast. Our average click-through rate of roughly 2.94% per email, and then a conversion rate of 23% per month. So I do look at using Google Analytics. I'll look at how many people came through our site and then got to a successful transaction from those emails. So, it just helps to understand, like, is our email being successful? And trying to reflect that sort of, like, are we driving the activities that we want to? Website and local SEO, or search engine optimization. So your website is essentially the face and space that people interact with to purchase your goods or interact with your brand on the very base level. It's where you collect money. It's where people learn about your brands, your products, your tools, your team, everything like that. So it is super important that you have a website. I tend to think of our website as like our 24/7 customer service representative. So I want to make sure that it's super clear, like within 5 seconds of landing on our website page, people know what we offer, how to buy, and where to go. What we measure, so referrals, so where are people coming from, and then user behavior. So how are people actually using the site? Is the site doing what I need it to do? And if it's not, how can I fix it? So the 2 major tools, again, are Google My Business and Google Analytics. And then I should have added Google Search Console to this page as well. So these are the 3 major tools. So Google Search Console is really great for understanding how you're populating in local search engines or for local SEO. It's also great for looking at your website performance and where your positioning is in the search. So, if somebody says ground beef near me, are you 12 from the top? Are you 10 from the top? Are you 5 from the top? Like, where are you ranking within the search engine, and are you getting that traffic that you deserve? Google My Business is the next tool. So Google My Business, I can't say it enough, is the secret sauce for local businesses. If you don't have it, please set it up, verify your Google account or your Google My Business account, and populate it with as much information as you can. It is super critical. It gives everybody the information that they need to be able to interact with your brand more readily. And then last but not least, Google Analytics. It's really for tracking user behavior and understanding where people are coming from and what they're doing. So here's an example of Google Search Console. So the total clicks, total impressions, average click-through rate, and then average position. These 4 things I'll look at on a monthly basis. My goal, so we used to be like 30 at like 30 down for our average position in 2017 or 2018. And so over the years, just like doing a lot more with like local organizations. So making sure that our local co-ops are backlinking, or like making sure our Google My Business was really up to snuff, has really increased our average position quite significantly. The other information is the total clicks. So of those people who saw my stuff, how much are clicking through into my link, which is really important. Down below, you'll see this is the report that you can get for page errors. So do you have any pages that are broken, links that are broken, anything like that? And so either you can go fix it, or you can get in contact with your developer to make sure that they're fixing your website. Right here, so this is a part of Google Search Console. So it's a page speed insights. It tells you how fast your website is loading and gives you tips on how to make it even faster. Studies have shown that, websites that take more than 45 seconds to load, like 90% of people go back to wherever they came from because they're too impatient to wait for your content. So making sure that your website is really fast is really important to making sure that you're successful in capturing those leads. Last but not least, so this is the search position information I was talking about. It is a little small, but it tells you what people are searching for when they find your page. So that's pretty important as well. If you look, the top 4 queries that people look for when they find our brand are actually searching directly for us. So it's not uncommon for someone to be on social media. They'll see a post by us, they'll back out of Facebook and then Google our farm. That's like the most common way for people to find us. And it sort of gives us a way to circumvent the algorithm and just not have to worry about, fighting for space because of the link. So how often do we look at this? I do tend to look at Google Search Console about once a month, just to make sure that everything is good and that nothing is.
Lisa, I think you're muted.
Thank you. I had a cough. Perfect. So Google My Business. I know I've harped on Google My Business a bunch, but Google My Business is huge.
I can't hear you.
Really? Can you hear me now?
For some reason.
I can hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, maybe I have some technical issue because I can't hear anything.
Yeah, it says that I'm connected.
There you go. I can hear it. Never mind.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Perfect. Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. So again, Google My Business is huge for our business. So you'll see how many customers have found our business as a result of it in the last quarter is well over 2,000 people. You know, making sure that, you know, driving your customers, asking for reviews, saying, hey, you know, guys, if you like our products, please go on to Google and Facebook and rate our business. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with panhandling for your reviews, because what it does is, as people give you more reviews, as you get more reviews, it recognizes your brand, your page, your website as more relevant and more useful. So it automatically pumps you up through sort of the ranking in the algorithm, and can help you grow your business a lot quicker. Some of the other things, so customers who viewed your business on on Google, total views was 2.5 thousand views. We can also list within Google My Business what products we sell, and link them directly back to our site. So it just makes it more interesting, more content rich, so that you're a lot more likely to get traffic being sent back to your page. So yeah, Google My Business. It's my favorite. I love it. If you don't have it, you should get it. Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is super powerful. It's taken me a long time to like figure out how I can best use it. Like it was when I first started using it, I understand that this is important because everybody who's done marketing ever says like you need Google Analytics. But the first 4 things that I started out with that were very easily digestible, and gave me actionable goals to work towards was my user behavior flow, which looks like this chart right here. So if there's a big red bar dropping down, that means that people are leaving that page. They're going away from your site after landing on that page. So by looking at this, I can say, okay, so when people land on my homepage, a good portion of them are actually leaving my site, and they're not flowing through to different pages and continuing on down that journey. So I, as a farmer, can say, oh gosh, you know, maybe I should rejig how my homepage looks, or make it a little bit more clear. So that's really helpful and very actionable. The next one is referral traffic. So how are people finding your business? So this is where it's really important to do things like get in contact with the Minnesota Department of Ag's Minnesota Grown program, Minnesota Cooks. If you can get involved with a local co-op or have an article done about your business, sponsor local events, things like that. Making sure that your backlinks are actually hyperlocal is a really great way to build your local search engine optimization. So Google will populate you a lot more readily. Another way, so there are also Regeneration International has a really great farmer page, and there's some other ones as well that just, not only does it help make your page a lot more recognizably relevant by the search engine, it also, like, people also traffic those pages as well. So you're a lot more likely to get in contact with like-minded customers. The bounce rate is something that we talk about a lot. So the bounce rate is, so how many people are just going away right away after landing on a page. So making sure that you're reducing that bounce rate and increasing the number of pages per session. So this last one. So making sure people are going really deep into your site, interacting with all those different things that you're offering. Or, you know, if you have a smaller site, seeing, you know, tracking, okay, how many pages does it take until they sign up or they do the action that I want them to take. So again, it's a really, really strong tool, but this user behavior flow, referral traffic, and then these two, bounce rate and pages per session, gives you some really great information that's actionable right away without getting too bogged down in like the amazing amount of reports that you can pull from Google Analytics. So general goals for our website, our SMART goals for our website is to increase our email subscribers by 15 per month. Increase our session duration for 4 minutes, like 4 minutes per session. So we were roughly around 2 minutes and like 47 seconds a couple weeks back. And so I want to make sure that people are staying on our site, they're reading things, they're interacting with our brand. And so creating, you know, so we can take these goals and then create sort of an action plan to see if we can get to that 4 minutes per session. And then the last one, so increasing that homepage click-through rate to 60% by the end of Q2. So I was a little appalled when I landed on my behavior report and I saw that people were dropping off pretty quick. So it's again, just a really great base level, or like, home base level to, make real change. So again, so this is actually a list. I encourage you to take a picture of this list. These are all the different platforms that we have used in the past. So right here, so Later is the one that we use currently for our social media scheduling. We use Canva a lot for our graphics. This presentation was actually created in Canva. I like Canva a lot because you can have it both on your desktop and on your mobile device if you have a smartphone. So it's a really great way to create graphics on the fly. Mailchimp and HubSpot are both really great free and easy tools to use for your email marketing. We, again, currently use Mailchimp, and I would highly recommend that. We currently use Gracecart, but again, depending on the structure of your business and what you're selling, it may not be the best choice for you. But if you're selling meat and you want to sell by pound, I do highly recommend looking at Gracecart. And then last but not least, web analytics. So Google Analytics is 100% free. So Google My Business, Google Search Analytics, Google Search Console. Definitely highly recommend that you do all three of those. So I think this presentation will be provided as a PDF afterwards by MFU. So I'll send that on to you, Brita, to send to the participant list so that they have this, so you have this presentation and you can print it or scribble it up, whatever you feel like you need to do. So yeah, with that, I think we can open up for questions.
Yeah, so, Amy put in the chat, she would love to have a recording, and this is being recorded, so that's no problem. I will send it out to everybody who RSVP'd through Eventbrite. And Anneliese, if it's okay with you, I might want to post, I want to post it to our MFU YouTube channel, so that it's more accessible. One question I had, and I think it might be on other folks' minds too. There's obviously it's very clear why digital marketing is important, especially nowadays for farmers. But there's obviously a lot that can be done with it, and to really maximize it, there's a lot of different parts. So I'm wondering, like, how you kind of prioritize how you would suggest prioritizing what's most important, especially to someone who's maybe newer to digital marketing tools. Where would be the best place to start, and that would ultimately support your business the best?
Yeah, for sure. So it kind of depends on where you're at within the life cycle of your business. So if you're just starting out and you're trying to gain an audience, but you don't necessarily have any products to actively sell right now, some really great tools like HubSpot have a landing page function that you can take advantage of to start collecting those emails, so that once you do have a product to actively sell, you can go to that email list and already have those customers to choose from. Insofar as platforms, I would say if you can get started as fast as possible with having a website, creating your Google My Business, and then start curating your social media right away, that is super essential to just really starting to get the word out there and encouraging your friends to help you drive the expansion of your business, so that when you are ready to sell, you can do so.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I appreciated your mentions about leveraging your connections like Minnesota Grown and Minnesota Cooks, because that can that like really helps you. That can really expand your efforts beyond what you're able to do yourself.
Well, and also I did want to note, there's in Minnesota and in many states, there are Facebook groups that are specific to certain areas. So if we're trying to foster a relationship in a certain zone, so we have delivery zones for our business, and I can go onto those community sites or those community Facebook groups and say, hey guys, we're going to be coming to your area selling these products on this date. Make sure that you purchase. And that's a really great way to start driving engagement as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of questions in the chat regarding email lists. How to start an email list and get that really off the ground, and how to keep the emails from going to people's junk mail. And I, speaking at like in my own work at Farmers Union, like I feel that very much.
Yeah. So first things first, when you're just starting your email list, figuring out what platform you want to start with. Both Mailchimp and HubSpot are both great places to start. Again, creating that landing page if you don't already have a website. If you do have a website, there should be a subscribe function that you can put into pages to start collecting those emails. Insofar as not landing in the junk mail, that's like the thing that people shoot for. So one of the things that you can do is if request that in their welcome email when they register, say, hey, add me as a contact so that I go to your inbox. And so it'll mark it as important. Another way that you can do that or to drive that is making sure your domain is verified. So it gets a little bit into the weeds, and if you look at our email, so my email on this slide is lisewalker@gmail.com. Now that is not a verified domain. I'm sort of like, I'm coming off of Gmail. And so when I send out email blasts from my personal email list, it'll actually be sent through HubSpot. And so it'll look like it's coming from info@HubSpot, but the reply to is at lisewalker@gmail.com. And so if you have a verified domain, getting a verified email address will actually keep you in that, in your community's inbox a lot more readily. The last thing is grooming your email list. So if somebody signs up for your email list and they haven't interacted with your emails, and depending on what your reporting period is, like within 6 months, or they've just stopped interacting with your brand over a period of 6 months, don't feel afraid to just call them out, take them out. If they're not interacting with your stuff and your open rate isn't there, there's no sense in keeping them there, and you're a lot more likely to get gray listed over time. So making sure you keep a clean email list is really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Becky Laurie put a really important point in the chat. Access to broadband is very challenging in rural Minnesota, and how can we? We have a lot to work on policy-wise with fixing that, and that's a huge priority for MFU as a whole. But how do you work with perhaps limited internet access to still make all of this work?
Yeah, so a lot of the platforms that we use, not including our website, so Google My Business, Canva, Hootsuite, and Later, and some of these other ones, you can get mobile apps for your phone. While it's not ideal, it is possible. Another way to do it is batching. So, and that's how I do our stuff. So every Monday morning, I sit down for an hour or two, and I go through and I schedule all of our social media. I try to write up a blog post if I can, and just have like these things of like deep work time. I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and then it's done. So if you can go to your local library or go to a local coffee shop or a friend's place down the road and hijack their internet, batching all of your stuff together at one time means not only do you not have to like do it every morning and think about it, but you also reduce your need for internet day over day when you do it all at one time.
So you can find a public space maybe and do a bunch of it there. Yeah, that's what a lot of people have to do nowadays, unfortunately, but that's a good workaround. I didn't have any questions in the chat. Brian Erickson had posted a resource about e-commerce through resources through the Minnesota Department of Ag, which is a great resource. Sam,
yes,
you raised your hand. Yep. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I had a sort of general question about, I think the desire for a lot of people is to do as much as they can by themselves, right? So it says, oh, okay, I want to make a website. All right, let me find a free, easy utility. What's sort of the line for you when you say, like, I know I'm not going to do my own plumbing in the house. Like, I hire a plumber to do that. When do you say that for search engine optimization or putting your website together? What's kind of your line for or how you kind of determine what's worth your time? Maybe you could do it, but somebody could do it way better.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. And so the way that I do it, because I'm not a plumber or an electrician, so if I can pay someone less than I charge per hour to do that job, or less, so like that, how much time is it going to take me? How much do I charge myself per hour to do this job versus somebody else who can do it way faster, potentially for more per hour. But overall, is that cost going to be less by hiring someone else to do it than it would be for me to sit here for hours and hours and hours and hours just trying to figure out how it works? So that's sort of my way of balancing that. Does it cost less to hire someone else to do it than it would for me to pay myself to do the same job?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, thank you for answering that. Because I think between my partner and I think there's a huge desire to see how much of it we can do ourselves. And then I think I find myself teaching myself a skill I don't really want to like know how to use a certain interface when I'd probably be better off having someone who already knows how to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And, selecting people who are really familiar with like your particular niche is very important. So someone who does B2B marketing and, they're going to build up a super complex system when really you just want to sell CSA subscriptions. Like, does that make sense? Like getting really real about the goals for your business and then what you're going to need to do those things. So is really, really important.
Yeah. Something that I just thought of regarding like teaching yourself to do things, if that's the path you choose, do you have any resources that you've used in the past to like help yourself learn these different skills? Like what are
definitely
that are particularly either free or low cost?
Yeah. So I originally started out listening to a bunch of different podcasts. And so one of my favorite ones used to be HubSpot. They have it's Buffer, The Science of Social Media. And I don't know that one's still running, but when I first started, that was absolutely crucial for me to figure out like how the algorithm works, stuff like that. It was a lot of reading. Hootsuite has some great free tools that you can give them your email and your name for some like benchmarking things and some worksheets. I've also written a really brief ebook that with all of the things I wish I would have known when I first started. And so if you go to the bit.ly link on this slide, so bit.ly/internet ecosystem, it's a really brief ebook that I wrote all about how the internet works and covering many of the things that we covered today in this presentation. But it might be a good resource for those who are just kind of grappling with like, how does this thing work? I ended up so early on, I did pay for some pretty beefy digital marketing summits to attend down in Minneapolis because that helped me a lot. But there's a lot of different resources out there. It's just depending on how much time you want to spend on it and learning those tools. So.
Yeah, it's with all of it put together, it's a real beast. And I, from my own experience at Farmers Union, I use all those same tools as you do. And it in just in the workplace, but no matter what you're using them for, it's a big time commitment, and but it's also very much worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I can tell you, so we did a customer survey at the beginning of 2020, well, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And I'll tell you, 43% of people who responded to our survey said they found us on social media. That's huge. That's an increase of over 30% from where we first started in 2019 when we did our first, and that's actually a trend that's been reported over the last 2 years, especially starting with COVID. People are starting to use Facebook and Instagram as an actual search engine to find things that they want. So they're treating a lot more like an Etsy or like a Google and saying, hey, beef near me, farms near me, or like the Minnesota Direct, Facebook group is huge. And so like looking for beef farms in this certain county is really, has helped us grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll open it up a little bit more. Does anyone have any like comments or questions, or are there any particular challenges that you've experienced with your own marketing that you want to share about? Like, just feel free to unmute and share your story. Okay. Well, if you want to share anything that you've experienced, Anneliese has her email on the slide here, so you're more than welcome to contact her. Well, if there aren't any final thoughts, Anneliese, do you have any closing comments before we wrap up? If we're almost to 2 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Thank you everyone for joining this crazy presentation, and look forward to seeing you guys in the future. So, yeah. And watch out for the Minnesota Farmers Union stuff.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think most of you are Farmers Union members, but if not, we invite you to join, and I'll put our website in the chat.
And you might want to include the National Farmers Union as well, because I think I saw some Colorado people come through.
Yes, that the chat too.
Perfect.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will be posting this recording on YouTube. And then I'll send it out in an email afterwards. So without further ado, I'll let you go, and we'll see you at our next event. So thank you, Anneliese, so much.
Yep. Thanks, Brita. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
All right. Bye.